All right, our next presenter. In high school, Laurie Guest worked at the deli counter of a local grocery store. She not only developed the skill to cut 1 pound of olive loaf on the first try, she also learned a great deal about customers and good service. Then after college and 24 successful years in the healthcare field, where she was recognized for her industry knowledge and excellent speaking skills, she decided to launch her own speaking and training business called Solutions Are Brewing. Not what you think, you'll hear. Today, she is frequently recognized at her local Starbucks for a consistent choice of chai tea. See, that kind of brewing. I saw some of you go the other direction. Chai tea lattes, as well as by associations and organizations all over the country for constantly delivering value. She's brilliant, actually. So please welcome our next speaker from DeKalb, Illinois, Laurie Guest.
So I'm sitting in the back all morning, watching all of my fellow speakers go, and something profound has dawned on me. You guys are all human channel surfing. That's what's going on here right now. Just like when you're at home, you recline back in your lazy boy and you got one of these bad boys in your hand and you're making decisions while you're flipping the channels where you're gonna stay and watch a little longer. So you're going CNN, click. Duck Dynasty, click. Wife swap, click. You keep looking and then all of a sudden you run across something that you've seen 100 times, but you just can't make yourself click farther. The first thing that comes to my mind, I was thinking back there, Caddyshack, right? You hit Caddyshack, you stop, because you can't get past that gopher. I'm all right. Don't nobody worry about, come on. You know that, right? Let's see it. I'm all right. That makes you feel good, right? And now, each of us, we get 12 minutes to make you want to see our full episode. Can you imagine if tomorrow, all of us on this showcase get to come watch you work for 12 minutes? Which 12 minutes of your day are you going to showcase for us? Think about that for a second. Wouldn't that be challenging? You'd be like, ooh, I want to show her how hard I work. Doing this. Ooh, no, I want to show her how well I deal with the boss. Think about that, 12 minutes. So that's what we have today is 12. So you're sitting there going, leadership, click. Communication, click. Team building, click. Well, welcome to the honey boo-boo of this showcase. You see, I kind of see life like a 3-lane highway. When I started out in healthcare in my early 20s, I was in the far right lane, the scenic route. My time was my own and I could do whatever I wanted and it was glorious. I just didn't realize it at the time because while I'm living it, the next lane always looks more desirable. Have you ever noticed that? The next lane. And the people I was working with, well, they were out meeting people, getting married, having babies. Seemed like the place to be. So I speeded up a little bit, moved to the middle lane, started looking for a man. Now, what I miss about the years in that middle lane, and maybe some of you will relate to this, date anticipation. You're getting ready, and you're thinking about all the things you're going to talk about, all the things you're going to do. I couldn't wait to hear the sound of Tom's car pull into my driveway to pick me up for a date. And now, after 22 years, I got to admit, 6 o'clock, when I hear that garage door go up, I'm like, crap, he's home. If you're laughing, you're relating, right? And those years, they just flew by, and now all of a sudden, here we are, and this is what we all have in common in this room, other than our clicker fest. The other thing we have in common is we've all made it to the far left lane, life in the espresso lane, where your days are going by so fast you don't know what happened. Have you ever been working and you glance up at the clock and you're like, where'd the time go? In 17 days, I am going to turn 50 years old. Make a note, send a card. I need it. 50 years old, where did the time go? It just flew right by me. And so I try to teach a few behaviors that I think can help us be more engaged in our life with a combination of some humor and some content. And I'm going to share a couple of those things with you now. I'm a believer in theme living. I'd like all of you to give this a shot. At the start of every year, I choose a theme by which to live. Do not confuse this with a New Year's resolution. Is that something you don't want to do? Like in my case, eat right and work out, right? But a theme is something you actively choose and you want to do it. My first theme was 6 or 7 years ago. I chose the year of no, N-O. Anyone that asked for my time, I would put it through a list of priorities. Does it meet one of my top 3 priorities of my life at this time? And if it didn't, I learned how to say no. There are some of you in this room right now, you say yes to things because it's your default. People call you up and they say, will you be on this committee? Will you serve on this board of directors? Will you make 3 dozen cookies for the bake sale? And you pause and you go, sure. And then you're kicking yourself when it's time to pay out on the obligation. Would you agree with me on that? Yes? Because you don't know how to say no. Well, I have spent a long time figuring out how to say no, and I'm going to give you the secret right now, free. You can steal this. Here's the formula to saying no. You're going to say the person's name, followed by some form of a thank you or appreciation for having been asked, and then you're going to politely give a pass statement. So it sounds like this. Julie, thanks so much for asking, but I'm going to have to pass at this time. Period. You got to put the period on the end, because if you put a comma and you take a hesitant, then all of a sudden you say, but if you can't find anybody else, I'll do it. I'll do it. It's the commas that get us in trouble. Well, the year of no was so beneficial to me. The next year was the year of getting things done. Make a list, check it off. Love that year. Third year, the year of Tom. Everything was going to be about him. Oh my God, what a long year. If you're going to steal this idea, do not start out with the year of the loved one. It's a bad idea. Each theme has been wonderful and all years went well. Last year, the year of compassion. I travel for a living and there's always people in need. They can't put their suitcases in the overhead. They can't get through the revolving door with 2 strollers and 3 kids. And so I look for ways to help. It's extremely rewarding and things were going great until October 3rd. I was flying home from Buffalo, New York, and I use O'Hare International Airport as my home airport. If you have never been there before, let me set this up for you. We have this wonderful tram system. It will pick you up at any one of the terminals and then also take you out to extended parking. Now, there are terminals 1, 2, and 3, which are all domestic destinations. There is no 4, and I don't really know why. And there's 5, the international terminal, and then out to extended parking. On this day, I jump into the tram at station number 1, and I continue to read my book with my blinders on. And a woman gets on board. I'd like you to picture her. She is dragging 2 huge designer suitcases behind her. She is perfect from head to toe. Perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect shoes. And I hate her. She pulls up right next to me. She's got a cell phone cradled between her ear and her shoulder. She's yelling into the cell phone how rude we Chicagoans are because she has an international flight to make and nobody will help her find the international terminal. And she continues to go. The doors close and we move from station 1 to station 2, but I don't look up. I keep on reading. The doors open. Everybody dumps out except Gucci, who shows no signs of getting off the tram. I'm laughing on the inside, and then this little voice goes, but Laurie, it's the year of compassion. So at the last minute, I turn, I go, hey, this is your stop. Go, go, go. She grabs her bag. She jumps out of the tram. The door slams shut. We glide away. And the businessman next to me says, I think we're only at Terminal 2. I glance down. The orange 2 goes by. For those of you who don't know O'Hare, she is 2 miles from where she needs to be on foot. Last time I see her, she's running towards the escalator in stilettos. There's a woman on the bench laughing hysterically. She looks up at me and she goes, oh man, she's gonna be so ticked at you. Which led me to this year's theme, 2014, the year of mind your own stinking business. It's working great for me. I love theme living and you should give that a try. The second thing I like to do in programs, and this is 20 seconds of bravery at every program, and for the speakers who are here, I challenge you to try this. 20 seconds of bravery is you telling a story you've never told before, because you just saw it happen yesterday or the week before or the month before, but you've never told it. So 20 seconds of bravery I try to bring to every program, which means no 2 programs are alike. And so here is my story from last week. My son has graduated high school and he has chosen Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa as his university. We are in Des Moines right now. Please be good to him. And I decided it would be good for him to go to lunch with a friend of our family named Alex. He is an incoming junior at UK and he had a wonderful high school career and he's doing a wonderful job at college. And I thought Alex could teach Evan something. I didn't take paper and pen because, well, he's going to be teaching Evan, but I'm the one who got the lesson last week. We sat down to lunch, and I said, Alex, how's it going? And he tells us about his experience. And then I said, tell Evan what you think he needs to know when he starts at Drake. Alex thinks about it for a second, and he looks at Evan, and he says, you know what? When you get to college, find something you like, and then don't let anybody else outwork you at it. Wow, I'm like, where's my pen? This is fantastic advice from a young boy. Find what you love, and then don't let anybody else outwork you. Every audience I speak to needs to hear that message. And what does that look like? What does that feel like? How can we get you to do that? And it's coming from a 20-year-old kid. I love that. Thirdly, I look for small opportunities to pick up things that are either profound or things that make me laugh. And one of my favorite stories comes from my friend Andy. He tells a story about driving in a West Virginia countryside one time, and his car broke down. He called, and the tow truck man comes, named Gus. He knows because it's there on his shirt. And Gus comes, and as he's hooking up the car, Andy notices that people keep slowing down, and they're gawking. It's like a keeper's block. So he says to Gus, did you notice how as we're doing this, we're kind of causing a gaper's block? And he said, Gus looked up and gave him profound advice. He spits a little tobacco and then he goes, yep, some days you watch the show, some days you are the show. Isn't that true? It's a profound idea that there are some days where we go along and we think nobody's paying attention, and then one day you're the show. At the facility where I worked for almost 20 years in healthcare, our employer, Dr. Neil Ross, who was my mentor, and I learned everything I know about business from this man, he would tell every new employee that started at our clinic that it doesn't matter how good a doctor I am if the patients don't like you. We're going to create a culture of service in which people want to be here and they're happy that they're here. And I think that's important. I've taken Dr. Ross's quote and I've tweaked it to make it my own. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. It doesn't matter how good the baker is if the cashier spits in your cake. I'm Laurie Guest. Click.